Hello, this is Willimost, and I'm here for week 1 of the Hive Season 8 in the Kakuna division. And yeah, the first week I am against Bronson, who is a well-known coach around these areas. Big personality. I sniped him pretty hard in the second round, kind of fucked up his whole draft plan. So we got a revenge game going on. And we are the very first game of the entire season across any division. So, that being said, let's look at the matchup. In the power rankings, he was ranked number 1. I was ranked number 16. So we got a little bit of an interesting situation here. He has Tapu Koko, which is obviously a huge threat to anything. I have plans for it, whether it's physical or special. But just on paper, it runs through stuff like Hawlucha, Milotic, Bronzong, Houndoom, Heliolisk, Grimmsnarl, and then depending on the set, it could destroy everything else. So yeah, it's pretty worrying. Getting Play Rough in close combat are huge for it this new season. Corviknight is one of the best defensive mons to come out of Sword and Shield. If you look at how it is able to take on Pokemon like Hawlucha or physically offensive Dragapult, it could be pretty scary. Hoopa Unbound is a big threat offensively to my team. If he runs a special set with Dark Pulse, nothing on my team can really take 2 hits from it except for Grimmsnarl, and he could just run Gunk Shot and OHKO my Grimmsnarl. So that's a really worrying mon. I was expecting it to be a Choice Scarf set with Dark Pulse, Psychic, Gunk Shot, and a filler move because he didn't really need a 4th move. So very worrying mon. Snorlax is a great special wall, takes on stuff like Dragapult or Houndoom or Heliolisk really well. I was incredibly worried for Snorlax and Slowbro, because the two Snorlax and Slowbro form a really good combo, as Slowbro is able to take on Hawlucha and Mudsdale and kind of Aggron, while Snorlax can handle stuff like Dragapult and Houndoom that Slowbro would struggle with. So that's a really scary duo. And then Nidoqueen is also fantastic against my team, mainly because I have bad removal and it can run Toxic Spikes. And Toxic Spikes really mess up the longevity of my core of Milotic, Mudsdale, Bronzong. Bronzong doesn't take Toxic Spikes, but then Bronzong can't switch into Pokemon like Marowak or Moldbreaker Haxorus or a strong like Banded Koko or Specs Koko, depending on how I make my EVs. So his offense just kind of tears through me if he gets up Toxic Spikes. And it's even worse if he gets up Sticky Web with his Ribombee, because that could really fuck me up. I do have ways around it. Dragapult has Clear Body? Yeah, Clear Body. Hawlucha is levitating. Most of my other Pokemon don't need to be fast, but it's still not a great look. Right? Alolan Raichu mixed with Tapu Koko. Alolan Raichu will get Rising Voltage, which is obviously a fantastic move. It gets doubled speed because of Surge Surfer, and it could just run through a lot of my team. So yeah. And then Haxorus can set up with Dragon Dances, Swords Dance, Scale Shot, Poison Jab, Earthquake, and just really rip a hole through my team. And Throw also exists. He's not bringing Throw. Throw is a good mon sometimes. This is not one of those times. So yeah, overall, I feel like I have an awful matchup this game. His defense pairs up well against my offense, with the exception of some stuff I'm going to show you. And his offense just destroys my team. So I'm going to need to pull some interesting moves to win this game. So that being said, let's check out the team that I brought. So first I brought Dragapult. Enough speed to outspeed Koko, through the rest in special attack and then a little bit in physical attack. U-turn, Dragon Darts, Flamethrower, Shadow Ball. Dragon Darts does about 40% to max special defense Snorlax. And so my thought process is, I Dragon Darts, he switches into Snorlax, does about 40%. A U-turn out, that does another 15 to 20%. So at this point, he's at like 45%. And then he's either forced to rest, or he is forced to just die the next time that I bring in Dragapult, because I can Dragon Dart something and it'll die. Shadow Ball and Flamethrower really covers his team nicely. If you look at his team, Shadow Ball does a lot of damage to Koko, Flamethrower does a lot of damage to Corviknight, U-turn OHKO's that. We talked about Snorlax. Shadow Ball OHKO's that. Ribombee dies to Flamethrower. Mega Slowbro, depending on the set, dies to Shadow Ball or takes a ton from it. Nidoqueen could be a good answer to this because I'm not fully investing in anything, but we'll have to see how he plays it. Alolan Raichu dies to Shadow Ball, Haxorus dies to Dragon Dart, and Throw sucks. So it's a really interesting set. I'm running Clear Body in case he brings Web, so that way I can still outspeed his team. And yeah, so this is the reason I think he's bringing Scarf Hoopa is to outspeed my Dragapult, so I'm expecting that to be almost max speed to outspeed the base 421. And yeah. So next, I decided to bring a Assault Vest Tapu Lele. This is to handle one of two mons, because he's either going to bring Physical Koko and Special Hoopa, or Physical Hoopa and Special Koko. That's my thought process. And so, by bringing an Assault Vest Tapu Lele, I'm able to handle the special one, because super high special attack, decent HP, won't take much damage. Can also switch into Slowbro and start getting Charge Beams up. Charge Beam Thunderbolt, if I get the +1, the combination of those two does about 70% to Corviknight, so if I have a little bit of chip on it, I can take that out pretty easily. And then Psyshock helps with Snorlax, and everything else does pretty well against. The main problem with it is the lack of recovery is majorly problematic, but being able to take away Coco's electric terrain when I switch in really helps me. I think I take 22 to 27% from a Specs Thunderbolt, so yeah, it's pretty solid. Next is Mudsdale, Max Fizz Def. This handles, wrong tab. This handles either a Physical Koko or a Physical Hoopa. And honestly, it handles all his physical mons. If you want to start setting up with Haxorus, Mudsdale can take that. This is my rocker, because I really need rocks this game. It helps me secure some Okos on mons that I wouldn't get, that I'll talk about in a little bit. Earthquake, Okos, Koko, it Okos. Actually, I don't know if it Okos Alola Whack, but it does a lot to it. It does a lot of damage to Nidoqueen and Raichu. Body Press really helps with Snorlax, and also if he starts hitting me, I'll get my defenses up, and it'll do even more and more damage, so that's fantastic. Toxic is for Mega Slowbro. Snorlax, Alola Whack, anything that switches in really doesn't want to take a Toxic. And yeah, it's just a fantastic mod in this matchup. Base 328 defense with 404 HP is incredible. So next, I have Choice Banded Aggron. You may ask why I didn't speed creep anything, and that's because I don't know exactly where he's going to run his slower mons in terms of speed. So I was just like, I'm just going to run it all max speed. Maybe catch Corviknight off guard, catch Nidoqueen off guard, catch Throw or Alola Whack off guard. Head Smash kills most of his team. Throw lives it. Corviknight, I think, takes about 80%. Nidoqueen takes, I want to say 40 to 50, but dies to Earthquake. Or no, it takes like 50 to 60, but dies to Earthquake. So it's a really easy Pokemon to just bring in. I can take hits from physical Pokemon that aren't running ground or fighting moves. I can bring it in on Snorlax when Snorlax goes for like Body Slam or Crunch or Darkest Lariat or whatever it uses. Bring it in on Alola Whack on a Poltergeist and kill it back with Head Smash. Bring it in as Nidoqueen sets up Toxic Spikes and surprise and outspeed him. Or it could probably even take a special move like a non-Specs Thunderbolt from a Koko or a Resisted Psychic from a Hoopa. So overall, I think it's a really good Pokemon this week. Head Smash kills everything. Earthquake is for Alola Whack, or Nidoqueen, Raichu, and Koko if I don't want to risk missing. Heavy Slam is just a good, decent move across his team. And Thunder Punch is for Slowbro and Corviknight, just in case I don't want to Head Smash them. Yeah. So my next Pokemon is Hawlucha, and this is a really fun set. I'm bringing Limber so I can switch into Snorlax Body Slam without getting paralyzed. Work Up, Close Combat, Grass Knot, Brave Bird. I am able to outspeed non-Scarfed Hoopa. Any set. I have Work Up, Close Combat, Brave Bird, Grass Knot. So the plan is switch into Snorlax, go for Work Up, and then I Oko Mega Slowbro if it's with if it has low special defense investment. I Oko it after Rocks with Grass Knot, which makes no sense. So it's a really interesting set. A lot of special attack, a lot of physical attack. And then at +1, it also does 60% to Koko with Brave Bird or Close Combat. It Okos Snorlax, it Okos Alola Whack. Okos Hoopa, it does 70-ish% to Corviknight. Just does a fuck ton of damage to his whole team. Obviously, The downside of this is that I'm getting outsped by mons like Koko, Raichu, Haxorus, Rabombi. But if I can either bring it in early game to take out his defensive core, or bring it in late game after I've killed his big offensive threats, I can just completely sweep. So I think it's a really interesting mod to bring this week, and I love it. And finally, I bring Heliolisk. I was originally planning on bringing Mega Houndoom, but I mocked what's his name, Slade, and Slade got me scared of DD Haxorus, or Rabombi, or Koko, or Scarfhoopa, because all of those Pokemon can just clean at the end if everything's weakened. So, especially Scarfhoopa. So I wanted to bring a Pokemon that can outspeed that. So Heliolisk does 70% or 60% with U-turn, so that's a 2 KO. Obviously, you can just bring in Snorlax or Nidoqueen on me, but even then, I'm getting momentum, getting into my bigger threats. Dry Skin really helps me against Slowbro, so I can just switch in and then either U-turn out or Thunderbolt or go for something else. And yeah, I think it's just a generally pretty solid Pokemon this week. The speed tier allows me to outspeed a +1 Haxorus. I just want to make sure there's nothing else I'm missing. I think this team will be able to bluff the late game sweeper Hawlucha well. He really won't expect a speedy Aggron, which I think can take advantage of some stuff. Mudsdale's a fantastic Pokemon, and overall, I'm just really looking forward to how this team works, because I built it quickly, like 30-minute build, but I feel like it's creative, and I put a lot of thought into it. So yeah, time to get into the battle. So the first thing I noticed was he didn't bring Rabombi, so I don't have to worry about that. The only possible hazards he brought were Toxic Spikes and Stealth Rocks on the Nidoqueen. He did bring the Slowbro Snorlax defensive core I was scared of, and the Hoopa Koko offensive core I was scared of. Corviknight I don't really think is going to be able to do much this game. So yeah, I decided to lead with Mudsdale to get my rocks up, and he leads with his Corviknight. So he just goes for, I go for rocks, he goes for taunt, good play by him. And I just decided to switch right into my Heliolisk, threaten him out with offensive pressure. But I know he's going to switch probably into the Snorlax and the Nidoqueen. I make a mid-ground play, go for a U-turn. He goes into the Snorlax. And right here I'm able to bring in my Hawlucha. I go for the workup. He goes for Body Slam. I know it won't para because I'm limber. I just close combat here because it's a safe play on anything. And then right here, I really expected him to switch. It took him like a minute and a half to make this move. So I'm just kind of worried. I decided to go for the Grass Knot anyways, because fuck it. And he actually ends up not switching, so I'm able to take out the Slowbro this early in the game, which is massive. After this, he goes into the Koko. I go into Lele, and he goes for U-turn. And from this damage, I'm able to tell that he is banded. So that's really good information. That makes me think that the Hoopa is most likely special. So at this point, I considered staying in and going for a Charge Beam or Thunderbolt, but it wasn't worth it. I go right back into my Heliolisk, just make the safe play. And here I make a little bit of a riskier play, as I decide to go for the Surf on the Nidoqueen, and it actually ends up working out in my favor. I figured he'd go into the Nidoqueen and not the Snorlax. I go for a second one as he sets up a Toxic Spikes, and at this point he knows he has to switch out. I just stay and go for a Surf, get a little bit of chip off. I'm pretty sure he's Assault Vested at this point. I just go into my Aggron expecting him to stay in, but he does not. He goes into the Nidoqueen. And I outspeed him because from the calc from the damage that Surf did, I was able to tell that he was most likely defensive. So that's a really important kill because it lets me spam Thunderbolt, gets rid of one of his special attackers, which helps open the road for Mudsdale. And then right here, I know that he's going to go for Body Slam or Earthquake or Brick Break or something. And he goes for the Body Slam, so I make a nice play there. And then just go for the Dragon Dart, see how much it does. It does about 46%. So another one will kill him, and I'll die to Life Orb and Poison. So I decided to make a big brain play and go for Flamethrower right here, expecting the switch to Corviknight, or the switch to Lele, or Koko. So I die to Life Orb, I'm able to get my Heliolisk back in, and then I go for the U-turn? Oh, Thunderbolt. I go for Thunderbolt. It does 65% in the, or 35% in the terrain. I know he's physically offensive, so I just switch in here. I get the +1 on Mudsdale. He goes into Snorlax. I know Body Press will kill him at this point, so I just go for the Body Press. He makes a mistake, in my opinion. He goes to Corviknight. Body Press does 30% to him. And I don't have any recovery, so I'm kind of worried that Poison's going to take me out soon. He makes another mistake. He goes for Iron Head instead of Body Press, or instead of Roost. So that increases the damage that Body Press does, and I am able to take him out. And at this point, he's physically offensive Coco. Take him out there. And at this point, I'm realizing, like, wait a second. He's probably a physical Hoopa, because he hasn't switched in yet. So I'm like, I got this. And at this point, I go for Body Press. He dies. And then I go for one more Body Press. Even if he had killed me here, I had the Scarf Helio with U-turn, so that's the game. Mudsdale ended up picking up 4 kills. It's a 5-0 victory. One of the biggest margins of victory I think I've ever had in the first week. And yeah, overall I feel like I prepped well. He had the matchup, but I just kind of out-prepped and outplayed him. This isn't to say anything bad about Bronson, but like I just feel like I had him at every step of the way in this game. And I'm really satisfied with it. I feel like I played well, I prepped well, I did everything I needed to pull out the win. So yeah. Next week I play Skyhorse, who is number 2 on the power rankings, of course. He has Urshifu, which is a huge threat, so obviously I have to worry about that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this season. Was a fun first week, and good luck to everyone else in the Hive and their endeavors in Season 8.